Welcome, curious minds. I'm Dr. Michael, and you've just stepped into the perfect place to uncover the greatest discoveries, inventions, and stories that shaped human history. Here, we explore the breakthroughs that changed the world, one brilliant idea at a time. Today, we discover the history of one of the most revolutionary inventions, GPS. The idea of a satellite navigation system dates back to the 1950s. During the Cold War, the U.S. Department of Defense sought a way to improve the accuracy of positioning systems for submarines and nuclear missiles. A key moment came in 1957 with the launch of Sputnik by the Soviet Union. American scientists realized that by studying the satellite's radio signal, they could determine its orbit using the Doppler effect. In 1960, the U.S. Navy developed the Transite system, the first operational satellite navigation system. Based on a few satellites in polar orbit, it was primarily used to guide nuclear submarines. But it had limitations. Ships had to wait for a satellite to pass overhead to update their position, which could take hours. In the 1960s and 1970s, new projects emerged, including Tomation, which introduced atomic clocks in satellites for greater accuracy. But the real breakthrough came in 1973, when the Department of Defense officially launched the GPS project. The goal was to create a global, always available, and incredibly precise navigation system. In 1978, the first experimental satellite of the NAVSTAR GPS system was launched. In 1983, after the Soviet Union shot down the Korean civilian flight KL-007, President Reagan decided to make GPS available for civilian use. By 1993, with 24 operational satellites in orbit, the system became fully functional, but there was a problem. The signal for civilian users was deliberately degraded for security reasons. In 2000, President Bill Clinton removed this limitation, allowing GPS to become the precise navigation tool we know today. Today, GPS is everywhere, in smartphones, cars, drones, airplanes, and even geological monitoring systems. But how does it work? It is based on three main components: satellites, ground stations, and receivers. Satellites orbit about 20,000 kilometers above Earth and send signals containing the exact time and their position. Ground stations monitor their position and correct any errors. The receiver, found in our devices, calculates the distance from at least 4 satellites to determine our position with great accuracy. But how does triangulation work? The device measures the time it takes for the signal to reach it from different satellites and calculates its position. The more satellites used, the more precise the position. That's why when we open Google Maps, the accuracy circle gradually shrinks. Each satellite transmits 2 key pieces of data: the exact time and its position. Accuracy is ensured by atomic clocks on board the satellites, which correct errors down to nanoseconds. If the clock were even slightly inaccurate, our position would be completely wrong. This is where Einstein comes in. The theory of relativity shows that time moves differently depending on gravity and speed. GPS satellites orbit at high speeds and are in a weaker gravitational field than Earth, so their time runs faster. If corrections weren't made, errors would accumulate, and our position would be completely incorrect within hours. An example of this effect: the Earth's core is 2.5 years younger than the crust due to gravitational differences. Today, GPS is not the only satellite navigation system. Other countries have developed their own systems: Russia's GLONASS, China's BEIDOU, and Europe's Galileo, which became operational in 2021. GPS even works without the internet. If we open Google Maps without a connection, our location will still be detected, but the maps won't update. Thanks to GPS, we can navigate easily, monitor natural phenomena, and even track the movements of vehicles and people. But the future of GPS goes beyond Earth. NASA is studying similar systems for navigation on the Moon and Mars, creating an interplanetary satellite network. GPS has revolutionized our way of life and continues to evolve with increasingly precise new technologies. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on the history of everyday inventions.